Good morning. We
Good.
finally talked.
I know. I'm so excited because,
Thank you so much for being here.
oh no, thank you for inviting me. I love your content and I'm so happy that we met.
Okay, so I've given everyone kind of just your brief bio, all the highlights, all the reasons why I wanted you here. But I was wondering if you could kind of tell us your story, and feel free to make it colorful. It could also be in a catchy sentence, but anything else that is kind of not covered in the highlight reel. I would kind of love for you to set up really what happened between like all the milestones that I kind of mentioned. Like if you could help us fill in the blanks.
Yes, yes, of course. So yeah, first of all, yeah, as she said, my name is Fernanda. I like in my Instagram I put Fern, but usually like people call me Fernanda.
Okay.
Yeah, no, but don't worry. And yeah, so I was born and raised in El Salvador. It's a country in Central America. I love it. And when I was 19 years old, I moved to the US. And I moved here because my dad was living here. It's not like I came for college.
Hmm.
Although when I was here, I started college.
Hmm.
But I started at a community college. And honestly, I'm a first generation student and I didn't in my country like college it's not like a big deal as it is in
Hmm.
here.
Hmm.
It doesn't really matter where you go to
And
college.
it doesn't make or break you necessarily. It
Yeah,
doesn't like have a stamp.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So I when I came here I didn't even like started like figure out like, oh, what's the best college. Like my dad told me like, oh, here's a community college, and I'm like, okay, I'll sign up there. I didn't even
Hmm.
know about community college and the difference. And so I just started there. And anyway, at the end of the day it was better for me because I saved a lot of money. And second,
Oh
like,
yeah.
yeah.
So much
And
money.
yeah, and because when I came here my English was not good, so it was best for me to start at a community college. And so yeah, like I started there and it was a lot of fun. I did a lot of like volunteering and was involved in clubs, and I started enjoying a lot school. It was like my life, and because I was always working, and then
Hmm.
when I went to school that was like my life, so I started enjoying it a lot. Then I transferred to a 4-year college, which is the University of Connecticut.
Hmm.
And there, um, in my uh, in my first year there, that's where I found out that I was pregnant. And yeah, so I had my son Nicola. And during that summer, actually, I went to the Czech Republic because I was part of a summer research program. So
Hmm.
I went and I was pregnant, and then I was there for like 10 weeks. I was pregnant from like, I was, I think, 6 months pregnant until like 8 months pregnant.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
And
like very pregnant. Yeah.
very pregnant, yeah. And then I came back, and I kept going to school because in my school for my major, if you lost one semester, you will lose the whole year. And
Okay.
I felt
Which
like I
makes the
was,
stakes higher.
huh?
It makes like everything feel like it's so much more important.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And also because this is another thing, like in my country, whatever age you have, like it doesn't matter when you go to college. But in
Hmm.
here I always felt the pressure that you have to be, this certain age, like at this year.
Hmm.
And I was already older because remember I moved here when I was 19, almost 20. And then I had to wait
Mm.
a year to learn English. And so I started at like 21 or something like that. I can't remember, but at that
Mm.
point I was already older, and I was like, I cannot lose time.
Right. And so when you started in community college, you were 21. And so like you already felt like you'd paid your dues. So you're like
Yeah,
have to be on top of it.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And then, yeah, so like I I was in the semester, I was pregnant, and I was gonna have my baby. My due date was October 1st, so that's in the middle of fall semester. But I
Mm-hmm.
was like, whatever, I'm gonna try it. And I just kept going, and I graduated last year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's last year in this at the same, like, because I graduated, I still had to take a summer class, and then I was like done on a Friday, and then on Monday I started my PhD.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no break.
No break. Okay, but you seem to be killing it, and I feel like I have an understanding of the background now that kind of helps us transition into just your STEM interest. And what I always ask folks is to kind of, describe themselves and then describe their technical interest and what makes them so passionate about the thing that you've described spending, so many years doing. So my question really is, what is your STEM interest for anyone who doesn't know? And why did you choose the STEM path that you did? And then in what way do you want your work in STEM to make a difference?
Yes. So, okay. First of all, like, I chose engineering in school, and I wasn't really sure what I was doing.
Yeah, so many of us were like, I don't know what this is, but
Yes.
yeah.
Because in school, since I took algebra, in middle school, I fell in love with math, and I was like, I really like it. And I also like science and physics. So then, like, my mom mentioned, oh, yeah, you should do engineering.
Hmm.
And I went for chemical engineering. And
Okay.
didn't really know, but as I took more classes, I really enjoyed it.
Hmm.
So I was like, yeah, this is it for me. And I always did projects in other areas of engineering. Like,
Hmm.
I did soldering, I did I used SolidWorks with 3D printed. It was not specifically just chemical engineering, and
Right.
I just enjoy engineering in general.
Hmm.
And then last year I started, well, with in engineering you take a little bit of programming but not a lot, and I
Hmm.
was always intrigued by that. Like, I really like it. And last year I did a boot camp
Hmm.
and in data science, and I was like, oh
Hmm.
my God, I love it. And
Hmm.
now I'm doing my PhD in chemical engineering, but I'm incorporating a lot of programming. I like my work, it's a lot of
Yeah.
computational work.
Yeah. I feel like
Yeah.
our days are similar because even if I'm in aerospace and you're in like chemical engineering, all we do is data science.
Yes.
So it's like we're just applying data science to like our fields.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's like it's not like I always knew what I wanted.
Hmm.
Actually, when I was in my undergrad, I'm like super passionate about the environment, so I was doing a
Hmm.
minor in environmental engineering. And now I just started, so I'm like training in my lab, but I'm trying to look to work in a project, maybe something that has to do with like membranes,
Hmm.
and like water purification, so
Hmm.
something related to the environment as well.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is you kind of fell into it, as many of us do, from like either recommendations from parents or professors, but you really fell in love with it and you found ways to incorporate other things. So you weren't necessarily just learning chemistry or doing engineering, you were incorporating um, computer science or data science, and your passion for the environment into like what you were doing. I love that. And I guess I was curious about how your specific school or research combo has helped you manifest this interest because obviously committing to a PhD might feel like a really big deal for people. And to do that at a really rigorous institution and have the prestige of an Ivy League feels even bigger. So it's like these really big shoes to fill for someone who didn't realize like the importance of like the college stamp a couple of years ago, which means that there was like an identity arc change almost where I can see your growth. So I was wondering if you could share that, like what happened, what made you consider doing the PhD, what made you consider your specific university?
Yes. So I love everything you're saying because also it makes me realize about some things, that I don't
I'm
even
so
think
glad.
about.
Yeah, I have goosebumps right now.
Yes, because so I decided to do my PhD because I always wanted to be a professor, and
Mhm,
when I was on my undergrad, I did a summer research program at Princeton,
mhm.
and this is where I started finding out about what it's a PhD because I didn't even know. As I said, like my parents, I'm a first generation student, so I barely knew what a master was, and yeah, so this is where I found out what a PhD was. I did research there and I was like, okay, I like doing research. And I was like, this is a step to be a professor. So I was like, yeah, I like research, so I'm gonna do it. And I don't know why, like I feel like I don't really think too much when it comes to like what I'm
What you're
doing.
falling into. Yeah, you just
Yeah.
kind of embrace, like, you embrace the uncertainty and you, like, know what the destination is. You're not stressing about the direction
Yeah.
necessarily because you know you're
Yeah.
gonna get there.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And I really like it. So it's like, I mean, I don't know if it's a coincidence and I'm lucky, but I really like it as well. And
Hmm.
as you were saying at Yale, I didn't really maybe know what I was getting myself into. And then you think, you want these big things, but then when it happens, you're like, oh shit, like I really need to work hard, right? Now that I'm
Yeah, you're like,
here.
oh shit, that actually happened.
Yes, and the
Yeah.
same with Georgia Tech. Like I love Georgia Tech. It was one of my options, but since I have a family, like, and I was already living in Connecticut,
It
location
made
was
more
super
sense.
important.
Yes.
Yeah, but yeah, like I can see now that you said that, and it makes me think, and I can see the difference in my classes. Maybe when I was at the community college or at the UConn, I didn't feel it that much, but now I can feel that I'm a first generation student because
Yeah.
people, I don't want to say like people are smarter than me because everyone is smart in their own way,
Hmm.
but I do see that I was not like fully prepared as they are,
Exactly.
i
Yeah.
I have a classmate and she was telling me that she kind of like her parents already knew since she was little that she was gonna come and go to college in the US. So she went, she studied English, and like she was in a rigorous program all her life, and so many things that she told me, and I'm like, wow, like I mean, I didn't even know anything about college, and I was not a rigorous student when I was in school, and now, but you can tell the difference, like now I see how prepared people are, and I have to study harder sometimes. So yeah, I see the difference, but anyway, to answer your question, you were saying how it helps me. I've seen that Yale is super welcoming, or at least my department, it has been super welcoming to me. There was one professor, like since before I got accepted, sorry, he's been super nice to me, and he's always trying to help me with like anything. And I did my first research because you can do rotation, so I did
Hmm.
my rotation with him, and he was always super understandable, with the fact that I have a son. And then now I'm working with another professor, and I mean, he explains so much to me, and like he knows that, for example, I don't have a strong background in statistics, and that's important for, the work that we're doing.
Right.
Yeah, but he helps me a lot, and he tells me which classes I should take and stuff like that. So he's not making me feel bad because I don't know it, right?
Yeah,
He's
because
just
you're
telling
there
me,
to know it. You're not there to come in already having that information. Otherwise, like, what's the point of going to school?
yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So I think that the support that they give, it's like very, it's really helping me.
Okay, and I guess I was curious for any, first generation students listening right now. When you mentioned having this like inkling that you wanted to be a professor and then being able to do research at Princeton, sometimes it's not um, easy to connect the dots because maybe, like, again, it just feels like a bigger, scary thing. And maybe as first gen, you're like, well, if no one I know has done it, then should I play bigger than myself, or should I make myself smaller? So sometimes if people are overthinking it, they don't apply for the thing, or think that they can maybe do it, which is why the world doesn't like reflect the opportunity back to them. But the world was reflecting those opportunities to you. And so I'm curious how you found that Princeton research opportunity for like any other first generations listening right
Yeah.
now.
So yeah, like when most of my opportunities, as I was telling you, I didn't really think about it and I just did it. I don't
Mhm.
know why. I just don't think that much. And I'm like, okay, let's do it, you know?
No, but that's so like, I just feel like it's healthy because you're not like spiraling in here. Um, it just, yeah, it feels like your energy is lighter. You have other things
Yeah.
to think about. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And so for REUs in general, you can go to a website online, just type REUs on Google, and then you can find there's a bunch, like you can pick your topic, and then there, it shows you a lot of universities where you can
Hmm.
apply to, and you can apply to more than one. This is for the people that want to apply. In my case, for that REU, you know, my life feels like a bunch of coincidence because I was in the community college, and then one of my professors there's knew the professor at Princeton that was running the program, and she's from Connecticut, so she came to the community college and did a
Oh,
speech about it. Yeah,
okay.
like a talk about it, and I went to the talk because the professor told me, and
Hmm.
then he told me like, are you gonna apply? And I had a job, like I had to work, right? And I was like, I just got a job, like I don't think I can do it, right? And imagine like I was saying no, and he was like, no, I think you should do it, this is one in a lifetime. And I'm like, okay. And you know, I just apply, and when I got accepted, and that was the only program that I applied to. Oh, but also like I talked to the professor who came from Princeton in person, and I even gave her my business card, and I was like, she has to remember my face, you know,
Yeah.
you know, to put a face to the name of the application. And then I think that helped me. I was super nice to her. I mean, genuinely nice, but I think that, you know, being nice to people and like creating connections, it's a very important thing. Um, and yeah, so like I applied, got accepted, and then I talked to my job, my boss, and I told her about it, and she was like, go. And they let me take like a, you know, like 2 months off from work to go
Okay, that's
there.
brilliant. Yeah. And so I guess what I'm picking up is that um, like even if you don't know about the opportunities, like be ready with business cards when we're back in person, or
Yes.
be ready with like your online portfolio or
Yeah.
website that describes who you are, so that
Yeah.
no matter what the talk, you can kind of like slide that link in the chat on Zoom after. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter like who is surrounding you. You can be prepared to kind of
Yeah.
show up. Yeah. Okay, that's
And
brilliant. I love that.
and also I wanted to add that when I applied to Yale, that was one of the few times that I did overthink. And I was like, cause I applied to this fellowship. It's called the GEM Fellowship for
Hmm.
Minorities, if you, in case you guys want to apply. And you know, when you apply to this fellowship, even if you don't get it, it gives you a free application to a lot of universities. And
Okay,
the
that's good.
yeah, and the only university that they were not gonna give me a free fee waiver was Yale. And I was like, do I want to pay? You know, do I want to pay if I know I'm not gonna get accepted? You know, and also like the application was so early, and I'm like, oh, do I want to do all this work so fast? Yeah. I'm like, I'm not gonna get accepted, but then I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it.
Hmm.
And but I was scared, and I didn't tell many people about it because I was like, if I get it rejected, I don't want to tell people.
Right.
So I did overthink, but I was like, I have to do it because when I transferred from the community college to a college, I also wanted to apply to MIT and other
Hmm.
universities. But then I was like, I don't wanna, you know, I mean, I had to work. I didn't have money, so an application it's very expensive. So I was like, oh, I don't wanna, you know, pay, and I didn't do it. And I got that feeling. I'm like, I don't wanna do that again. I don't wanna have that feeling of like, what if, right?
No,
So
exactly. I think about how I applied to my undergrad colleges all the time, and um, I knew I wanted to dance. And so when I applied to aerospace engineering programs as an international student in the United States, my college advisor had said, oh, you can apply to all the top ones, but you can skip MIT because they don't have a dance program, which is untrue. And I don't know, I never looked, I never applied, I never checked. Um, I and this is coming from someone who really struggled in college, but like didn't struggle in high school. Like I got into everything that I applied to, so I don't know why I never applied there. And
Yeah.
again, for like anyone listening, like, um, yeah, ask questions, like do the thing because you just don't know what's gonna happen. Okay, I literally love this conversation, and I guess my follow up to all of this on the one of the topics that we want to address today with motherhood is how did you balance being a mom while applying to your PhD programs? And you know, being a first generation college student, like I bet there were a lot of applications as part of your GEM fellowship. How did you kind of, how were you able to cope during that time, trying to also be a good mom? Because I know a lot of, you know, students my age, like really feel like, okay, application season, it's like me, myself, and I. So I think there's like, you, there's this feeling of like you have to take care of yourself first. But then when you're a mom, you there's a part of you that has to be selfless.
Yeah.
So how did you kind of juggle that?
Yeah. So yeah, the semester was horrible because also like I decided that I was gonna apply late. I mean like I always knew that I was gonna do my PhD, but I was gonna take a year off. And then I went to this conference maybe like in October or something like that. And like I got excited from that conference and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna apply. And then I only had a few
Oh,
months.
yeah,
Yeah,
like 2 months.
yeah,
Yeah,
to
oh my
take the
gosh.
GRE, to do everything. And yeah, so that those months, and you know, also like I was working, I was doing my senior design project classes. So it was a lot. And I feel that, I mean, if you guys are trying to apply to grad school, definitely do it on time. Like start way before. You can take the GRE in your junior year and then start applications, you know, earlier. So yeah, it was really bad. I mean, like mentally, you know, I was exhausted. I mean, physically and mentally, I was exhausted. But the good thing is that I have a
It was
good,
2 months.
yeah, like around maybe like 2 months and a half or something like
Okay,
that.
yeah. Sorry,
Yeah,
continue. Yeah.
yeah, and like but I have a good support system, and my husband, he's super nice. So you know, whenever he is like very busy, he's an accountant, so whenever it's tax season, I help him more. Or you know,
Yay.
and yeah, in those months he will help me more, and I will feel bad, you know, because I will only see my son in the mornings or at night, because he will go all day with my mother-in-law, you know,
Mhm.
something like that, or on the weekends. But I was like, okay, it's just 2 months, you know, I have like his whole life ahead of me, right? You know, to be with him. So it's something that when you're in a career, like when you're working, you have to mentalize that. And as a mom, you always feel guilty. Like I have friends that are stay-at-home moms and they still feel guilty when they leave their babies.
Yeah.
So it's like normal to feel guilt. I don't want it to be normal, but I'm just saying like everyone feels it. So yeah, so you just have to like, you know,
Take
be
a deep breath.
present
Yeah.
whenever you can.
Yeah. I love that. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so now I'm just going to backtrack a little bit to, um, you know, when you went to study abroad with Nico, and then having Nico in the middle of that fall semester. My question is, how were you able to show up as your authentic self as at research and in classes in undergrad? And how did you share the experience with friends who maybe weren't mothers and had no idea what you were experiencing?
Yeah. So when I went to the Czech Republic and I was pregnant, I think that there was not a lot of difference because like I was still feeling myself, you know?
Right.
Yeah, I just had a huge belly. But I felt like kind of normal in a sense. I just couldn't do some things, but I still felt like everyone else. But then when I had him during the semester, it was definitely different. But for example, I had these two friends that in class that we will help each other a lot. And for example, one of them, she was very involved with like, and she will go to conference and stuff like that. So sometimes I will help her a lot with homeworks and stuff like that. So whenever I was super tired because of Nico, she will help me. She was the
Mhm.
only other Latina there, so we will help each other. And then this other guy worked as well, so it's kind of like maybe because I was always helpful to them, they were also helpful to me when I was in that position.
Yeah.
And actually, I never really talked to them too much about what I was experiencing. I don't really talk too much to people about if I'm tired, because I don't really saw it like as a bad thing, you know. Like even I remember this friend of mine, he told me like, oh my god, you look so tired, because he saw me, right? Like in school we saw each other, and then he texted me, and he was like, I thought you were gonna pass out in front of me, you know. And I was like, wow. And he was like, but you were smiling. And I'm like, yeah, I'm very, my personality. But I do ask for help to my friends, and you know, and I made sure to be helpful to them, you know, in whatever situation. So maybe I didn't say it too much, but now later on, you know, now I do express it more with my professors, for example. I don't care really. I just tell them like, oh, you know, I can't, I'm with my son, or something like that, like we should change the meeting, or today I don't have anyone to babysit, so he's gonna be with me, so you're gonna hear him. I remember I presented my research last semester, and he was with me. Someone asked me a question in the middle of the presentation, and Nico was like, mama, mama. And I'm like, hold on 1 second. And I went to do whatever he wanted me to do. So, I mean, now I'm pretty like open, and I talk about it.
Yeah, and do you think that because coronavirus has created these spaces where lots of, um, you know, humans are working at home with their children, it's created more empathy for these situations, like more so than before? Like, do you feel like it almost happened in like a timely manner where now, like, again, like a coincidence?
Yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah,
it is super helpful, and I'm super thankful. Obviously, like the pandemic, it's really bad for many reasons, but the positive thing that I take from it is that I have been able to spend a lot of time with my son now that he's little. And second, that, oh my God, society makes it normal, right?
yeah,
And they realize like we're all parents. um you know, it doesn't matter if you have a 2-year old, a 15-year-old, whatever, like we're all parents, and now we are like, we have been suffering a lot, and parents, because schools are closed and stuff like that. So I really love that it's getting more normalized.
and yeah, these are important conversations to have. Okay, so I guess the other question that I had to wrap up just the motherhood topic is, what advice would you share about younger motherhood and balancing it with your aspirations? I was listening to a podcast of someone on Brene Brown sharing how they were provers, and when they became a young mom, they felt like they had to prove that they had to graduate on time or prove that they had to achieve certain things. To which Brene responded that she was also a prover because of what happened in her past. And I think the concept of proving to like society is a really important conversation to have when it comes to like balancing wanting to go to an Ivy League, or wanting to apply to MIT when you're transferring out of your community college, um, and then also like having other like obligations.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm curious what your answer to that question is.
Yeah, so when I was before I had Nico, I was definitely like that. Like I wanted to do well in school, but I wanted to prove the world that I could do it. Even though I was working full time, even though I was an immigrant, even though English is my second language, all of
Hmm.
those things. Um, but then when I had Nico, I realized like, my mental health, it's like really getting bad because I have less time. I'm super tired, and I still didn't realize at the beginning. It was actually last year that I started hearing more people talking about mental health, and I'm like, oh, I should really take care of my mental health. Yeah.
Yeah, which is
And
good that you're like on this talk.
yes.
Yeah.
And then at the same time that I was hearing about mental health, that's when I started realizing like I have nothing to prove. I already, I have done a lot. And if you compare, like, even like my advisor last semester, he was talking about it, and he was like, you are very resilient, you're great compared to other people, and other people don't have kids, so it's like, relax. You like, stop, and now I feel like I'm more chill, and I feel in a better place.
Place.
But again, it's like I'm already kind of like almost at my end goal. Like, I'm already at Yale. But for people
Mm.
that are in undergrad, it's kind of like the same thing. Because just think that I think that professors, now they can see, and they're gonna see if you're applying for a PhD. Okay, she had a baby, but she was also in school. Like, she's already proven that she's resilient, and you can use that to your advantage as well. So it's
Hmm.
not like you have to get all A's, right? Because they know that you have other things to do. But also, it's like, I know that a lot of people, they get like, oh my god, I need to get accepted to a big school or an Ivy League. But I mean, I don't know, maybe because I grew up in a place where it doesn't matter. But for
It
me,
didn't
like,
fully matter. Yeah.
yeah, so
Yeah.
for me, it's like, I love that I'm at Yale, obviously, but I think that my perception of Yale, it's not the same as other people.
Mm. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think okay, so I think I felt like this weight lifted off my shoulders when you said you have nothing more to prove.
Yes,
And I
no,
just
yes.
I just want to repeat that to myself, and anyone listening right now, if it applies, like you have nothing more to prove. just
Yes,
just
and
take a deep breath.
exactly. Yeah, and I just remember as well that, I was so fixated on grades and on things, when people will do something, I was happy for my friends, but I was like, why didn't I do it? Why am like, I felt like I had to do everything, and then there was, and it was killing me. And then little by little, I started like not caring too much. And I remember I was in a live with Engineering Gals, and someone asked me about this, and I even started crying because I realized that I was not feeling that way anymore, and it killed me for so long.
Yeah.
And I was in the same situation, but I didn't have that weight. So yes, let go of that weight.
And I also love how you've brought yourself, you've you've made your personality such that no matter what the outcome, you'll still be smiling. You'll still be happy. Like you still know what your priorities are. And I think that's so important because I think we sometimes have this like iron grip or like clenched fist towards wanting something prestigious. But if we're like if we think about being okay no matter what the outcome, that gives us so much personal freedom. um so yeah, wow, thank you for your responses for that. And I kind of wanted to pivot to engineering baddies right now,
Yes.
and being a TikTok creator and how that kind of fell into your life. Was that happening at the same time as you were applying to colleges, or did it happen after? Like, what is the timeline of starting your Etsy store and then also, I believe, being a TikTok partner?
Yeah, so for my Etsy store, I started after I applied for colleges. So that will be my last semester in undergrad, in the spring semester. And it was because my friends and I, we wanted, like, I had my senior design group, it was my friends from
Mm-hmm.
college, and we wanted a t-shirt that said something about engineering, and but we wanted a cute t-shirt and we couldn't find anything anywhere. I know there's like really few, so we decided to make it ourselves. And then I saw an opportunity there, and I'm like, maybe there's a lot of girls trying to find cute designs in something STEM related, and
Mm-hmm.
there's not too much out there. So yeah, like that's how I started like in March last year, or like February or something like that.
Right when the
And
pandemic happened.
yeah, exactly. Like a little bit
Okay.
before. Yeah, a little bit before. And then um I started like researching online, and so I do print on demand. So in reality, the only thing I do is create the designs and do the advertising, and
Mm-hmm.
then everything else is done by the manufacturer. So it's like
I
I
see.
I don't have to do anything too much. So,
Yeah.
and I felt like that was perfect. And if you're listening, especially if you're a first generation student or minority and you want to make money on the side, you can do print on demand. And it's super easy. So yeah, I was like, I need to, because I started thinking, I didn't know too much about having passive income, because
Mm-hmm.
again, like my parents never taught me that. But yeah, now I'm like, okay, how can I earn money without really not doing a lot? So yeah, that's a great way to do it. And then with TikTok, I was able to work for TikTok over the summer,
Mm-hmm.
creating TikTok videos, and I didn't do well on that account that well. But yeah, like I got paid for to do TikToks. But then later on, like that semester, my first semester as a PhD student, it was like very heavy, so I didn't do anything. But then this January, I was like, okay, like I'm gonna be consistent, and I started a new account and I started putting TikToks, and it's doing really well. So I'm very excited.
I love that. And I absolutely love your account. And you're like one of the three people I follow, I think, because I don't use TikTok as frequently as I should. And I guess what my question for you pertaining to TikTok is that it's a lot of like study resources,
Yeah.
or it's like what used to be on Tumblr, like with study blurs. It's like a version, I'm not quite sure what they call that on TikTok, like I guess the study TikTok community. And I think that's so interesting because again, you have the story of being first generation, but here you are like educating others about so many resources that we, collectively don't know about. Like I learned so much um, from you, despite both my parents having, been to university. And what I'm curious about is how you found that specific passion and then how you found those resources. Like, are you like following certain hashtags or how are you consuming content to produce content that, you're using? How does that work for you?
So in general, for social media, I started because, well, first I really like taking pictures, editing, even though I'm not perfect, but I like doing that. I
We
think
try
it's
our
like,
best. Yeah.
yeah, and I think it's like self-care for me. It's like really fun.
Hmm.
So that I was like, I want to do something with my TikTok, but I don't want to do anything too much, just fashion, or just because that's what was popular before. And then
Hmm.
I was trying to like find what to do, and then I saw engineering girls, and I started seeing that a lot of girls, they teach about their journey. And at the same
Hmm.
time, it was the time that I had my baby, and I was like, I went to YouTube when I knew that I was pregnant, to try to find another student who was pregnant, and I
Hmm.
couldn't find anything. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna talk about it. And then
Yeah.
little by little it went evolving, and I was like, okay, what I want to do is to be what I needed when I was in college. And it was resources, because resources helped me a lot. Google was my best friend. And so yeah, and then as far as TikTok, I was also, because I told you, like over the summer I worked for them, but I didn't know really like what to do. Like you have to,
Hmm.
because you have to be so niched about it. And I was like, I have so many things to talk about, like.
Hmm.
And then but after thinking about it, I was like, study tips, I think that's really going to be helpful, and that's
Hmm.
something that I love, and I know about. So I started talking about the tips that I already knew, and that's what I was sharing. And then I, to like find more tips, I do Google them, or I go to like the hashtags like study tips, study hacks, and then I see if I like something, then I try it myself to see if I will recommend it, and then
Hmm.
I post about it.
Okay, and I think that's like such a good suggestion for anyone just looking to find more study tips. I guess what I was curious about is how you balance um, all of this again with being a PhD student and then also being a mom. Do you feel like um, a lot of it is supported by like your husband and then your family and um, if people find themselves in a similar situation, like how do you like what are prompts or things you can say to ask for help and support, saying like, hey, I know I'm like making a 30-second video right now, but this is really important to me. How do you kind of, yeah, express that to people you care about?
Yes, so it's something that I've been working on. At the beginning, it's like my family, they wouldn't take it seriously, or I was ashamed, like I will go and record myself when nobody could see me or nobody could hear me. And then little by little, I started getting more comfortable with it, and now it's like, and now I guess I sometimes I get paid or I get free stuff, and because I give it to them, now they're like, oh yeah, go and do it,
That's
but
brilliant. I love
yes.
that.
And but now it's like my new normal, and I tell them I don't care. I'm like, oh, I have to make this video, like, hold on 1 second, or don't
Yeah.
talk, don't put the TV on, I have to talk, or something like that, and I just feel more comfortable. But it does take time. And the thing is that I think I had to believe in myself, so like others could believe it, because
Yeah.
they're not into doing TikToks, or they're
Hmm.
not too into like social media. For example, my parents, stuff like that. But then I show them how cool it is. Now they love it, and they're like, "Oh my god, you have how many followers? Oh my god," stuff like that.
Right.
Now they understand it because I told them. And then as far as like time that you were mentioning that before, one thing that is helpful for me, when I was thinking, okay, I want to be consistent on TikTok, but what can I do so I'm consistent but I don't have to make a lot of effort? How can I do the
Hmm.
bare minimum, right? So my videos, I don't have to get ready because I only show my hands, right? So the
Right.
format, yeah, so I'm like, okay, like, because that's what's gonna that I was taking a lot of time, getting
To
ready,
get
and
ready. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's a really good suggestion. I love that. And just again for anyone listening, I want to like reiterate that you had been been a partner, had tried an account, maybe like didn't do so well on that, and then you just tried again, and now you have
Yeah.
200 plus K followers, and that it's okay to do something and maybe it doesn't go well, and like just keep going,
Yeah, no,
literally. Yeah.
definitely. And because you have to understand, like, when I first opened TikTok, I mean, I'm a millennial, and I was like, what the hell is this? Like, I didn't get it, I didn't understand the jokes or anything. And now I'm so into it that I even repeat the sounds, like sometimes, because like you see the same video with the same sound.
Hmm.
So like then
And
I
you're
started
singing
like,
the sound. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And then yeah, now I totally get it this time, and that's why I'm doing well. And one thing is that it's important, if you want to do a TikTok, is that you have to be very niche. That's how it is. And don't move from your niche until you get bigger, because like
Hmm.
if you're like doing videos that are like, you can gain followers for doing something, and then when you do something different, they don't like it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, I bet someone listening to this is like taking notes right now. I absolutely love it. Okay, so um okay. So for PhDs at Ivy Leagues who are also moms, I guess my specific question is what are health insurance programs at Yale like when you're a PhD, and what support can you ask for from an institution if you are a mom?
Yes. So for health insurance, if you have a son, a kid, they cover. I don't know if you have more than one, if they cover that, because I was
Mm-hmm.
only checking for one, but they did cover that for free. I have free health insurance. My son has free health insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's, if you have kids, you can apply to a fellowship that, it's not like a huge application. Literally filling out a form, and then
Mm-hmm.
they give you money to use it for daycare or for your spouse healthcare. So since
Okay.
Nico doesn't go to daycare, I use it for my husband's healthcare, which is, it's a lot of savings.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in that sense they help, and also they have backup childcare. So they give you like, usually they give you like 25 days that you can bring your son for free to these like preschool, and it's actually one of the best ones in Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
And but now, because of the pandemic, they have increased that to 40 days, and that's a lot of help. Imagine like 40 days for free.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I feel like I have so many more questions about this, and I almost want to do like another part two about motherhood because it's something that I think feels or felt daunting to me, where I felt like I had to put or will have to put things on pause. But it seems as though you're just such a great resource to have. So even if you had like a second TikTok on motherhood, I feel like that would get to like 400K. Um,
I don't have more time, but I wish I had.
just when you finish your like classes,
Yeah.
I'm like, make a TikTok.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have two last questions for you. The first one being, what is your morning or night routine, and what do you do to bounce back if you ever fall off track?
Yes. You mean off track from wellness or
Off track
from
from
school?
your routine.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm not a morning person, so my mornings are like very hectic because my son wakes up like early, and then it's like I either tell my husband like it's your turn, or I go, but I'm like dying. But the one thing that I do is that I eat. I don't like, I love eating, and if I don't eat, I start feeling weird. So that's like I have to eat, and that's like the one thing. But yeah, like I don't really have a really good morning routine. Like I do things as I can, because sometimes in the morning my son is with me like some of the days until like meet until noon.
Hmm.
So it's like very hectic, you know. But I spend time with him. But my night routine is better. So then after I'm done with work, I do my TikTok. I post it. Sometimes I do a live on TikTok, and then I go and wash my hair, my face, my, uh, what else? I eat first when I'm done with work, and then yeah, after I wash my face, then I just spend time with my husband. And like right now, for example, we are watching The Voice. I love The Voice. I love
Hmm.
hearing people sing, and just do something fun with him. Yeah, that's it.
No, I love that. Thank you for sharing. And then my last question is, what does wellness mean to you as a PhD student and a mom and a small business owner and a TikTok creator?
So yeah, it's super important. As I told you, like last year, I started caring about my mental health, and now I take it seriously, and I am more chill with everything. So like, if I'm really, one thing that I've heard a lot, it's listen to your body, and I know when I'm feeling overworked. So for example, yesterday, it was like 11 p.m. and we were still doing a homework, but I was feeling so bad, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna submit this, and I'm not even gonna watch TV, nothing. I'm
Yeah.
just gonna go to sleep. And I went to my bed, and I didn't go to sleep until like 2 a.m. because I was like turning around and all of that, because I just feel bad, right? But anyway, I tried. Like I was not watching TV, I was not,
Yeah,
doing
just doing
something.
your best,
Yeah,
listening
because
to your body.
in other times I used to feel overworked, and I will keep working. So yeah, now like I try to take it seriously. And for example, we are not gonna have a spring break, but we have some days that are break days.
Yeah.
So these past two break days, I I worked anyway because I was like, I'm
Me
gonna catch
too.
up.
Those, yep.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna catch up. But for next Wednesday we have a break. Then I was like, no, like I'm gonna take it seriously. And I
Hmm.
told my friend, my PhD student classmate, and I was like, we're gonna do something. Like, let's plan something to do. So like, I don't
We're
have to do
not
it.
working. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. I love that. Friend, it was just like so good to speak to you. I will reach out to you to just talk to you personally again because I don't know. I just feel like everything that you're putting out just like speaks to my soul. And I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I just like, I love you so
I know, me too, me too. And I love all of your content and everything you talk about. I'm like, oh my God, I love it. So like you're a reminder as well about wellness, you know, you remind me of taking care of myself. So like I love you too.
much. Okay, well, I will shoot you a message after this so that we can catch up. Paulina's saying that she loved the conversation, and Sonia's here too. Sonia, thank you for being
Thank
here
you
with us,
guys.
even though it's like 7 a.m.
Yeah,
or like
for them.
6:45. I will be ending the live now and posting this. I wanted to close the conversation again by reminding everyone to look at my anti-racism highlight after this. Because again, I would be remiss to not acknowledge the fact that the Atlanta attacks happened only 3 miles away from where I live. So, for anyone listening, please engage with the anti racism content that has been posted on social media since last year and is like super important right now. So, yeah, with that, I will be ending the live. Thank you so much for. Bye.
Thank you.